What was the cause of the United States Civil War?
Well, don't come with an easy question or anything. I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do. What do you think the cause of the Civil War was? I'm sorry?
I'm not running for president. I want to see your view on the cause of the Civil War.
I mean, I think it always comes down to the role of government. What do you want me to say about slavery?
No, you've answered my question. Thank you.
Next question.
Now, it's not your average town hall question, but she did seem surprised by it. And the voter, as you could hear there, called her out for not mentioning slavery. What do you make of that answer?
Yeah, if I were her, that would have been pretty easy to just say that and move on. But it's also, I think, pretty clear that that voter was kind of trying to catch her and saying something that would potentially make her less appealing to those independent voters in New Hampshire that she's going to rely on so heavily. So this was an easy question to answer. I wish she had answered it using the easy word, say slavery. There's a disagreement in our country about it. But ultimately, I don't think it's actually going to hurt her standing one way or another with Republican primary voters at this point.
This, and so I just think that this shows this is not a candidate that's ready for prime time. You know, she's gotten a pretty free ride from a lot of the corporate press. The minute that she faces any type of scrutiny, she tends to cave, and I think that that's what you saw yesterday. Not that difficult to identify and acknowledge the role slavery played in the Civil War, and yet that seemed to be something that was really difficult, and I don't even know what she was saying. If you listen to that answer, I know she's trying to clean it up. I know she's tried to blame a Democrat plant. Look, I mean, you're going to get asked a lot of questions. I mean, you're going to get asked a lot of tough questions. That's just the nature of this business. And I think that she showed time and time again that when it's time, when the lights get hot, that she wilts under pressure. And that was a good example last night.
What's going on, everyone? It's also Kenny here today, and Civil War, slavery is back on the public discussion again. So, as you guys saw from the intro, Nikki Haley, I guess, fumbled in a way, and you saw Ron DeSantis' reply and how she's not ready for prime time. And Nikki Haley is starting to come across like Kamala Harris for the conservative Republican side of the aisle. It's because, like, end of the day, bro, it almost seemed like if I don't know how to say it almost come across like she was trying to be everything to everybody. And that was a critique that the DeSantis hinted at. That was a critique that also Vivek is going to hint at as I'm going to go into some of his comments. But I kind of want to give my personal perspective on the Civil War. I believe the Civil War was started because of slavery. One of the biggest examples that I have is the idea that before Lincoln got into office, before Lincoln got into power, when he was campaigning, the Democrats, both North and South, threw out a lot of campaigns, called him a ninja lover, the first ninja president. All these campaigns, these smears, Democrats never changed. Like, Democrats from when they were 1860 to now, they still do the same tactics. They smear him because right now public perception was on their side. And I like to always compare abortion to slavery because essentially they're the same issue. It's human rights. Okay, does this person deserve to have rights because he's born a slave? Should we treat him any differently because he's designated as a slave? A dehumanizing term, by the way. Just like the abortion people, poor abortion people, use fetus as a dehumanizing phrase for a baby. Right? And if you want to argue with me in the comment section, it's fine. But my argument has always been, any argument you make for abortion, a slave owner could make for slavery. I digress. So I want to kind of hint at that without slavery is the key point of Civil War. And a lot of conservatives disagree on this. A lot of conservatives think it was about state rights because, conservatives are for limited government. And I understand that point of view, but I think slavery was the biggest factor of why the Civil War happened. Because when Lincoln got into power, when Lincoln became president, what was the main reason a lot of these southern states were succeeding? Not because of state rights and, the federal government shouldn't be overbearing on everyone. And many people blame Lincoln for taxes. The reason why we have taxes in the first place is because of Lincoln, right? A lot of people had a lot of issues with Lincoln's administration, but the I guess the ethos of it was that, hey, human rights, it has to be unilateral throughout the entire United States, that slavery is bad, right? And that's what his mission. Sorry, I'm rambling. Lincoln's mission was simply to limit slavery from expanding. But then the southern states overreacted, in my view, and Lincoln used that as an opportunity to abolish slavery. That's what happened. That's the reality of the Civil War, right? I can get more into it, but I want to but I want to open up with my little video here where I did a video on this, why the Civil War was about slavery. And I'm just going to show you the first 30 seconds to kind of illustrate my point. Let's take a look.
Evidence is clear and overwhelming. Slavery was, by a wide margin, the single most important cause of the Civil War for both sides. Before the presidential election of 1860, a South Carolina newspaper warned that the issue before the country was the extinction of slavery and called on all who were not prepared to surrender the institution to act. Shortly after Abraham Lincoln's victory, they did. The secession documents of every Southern state made clear, crystal clear, that they were leaving the Union in order to protect their peculiar institution of slavery, a phrase that at the time meant the thing special to them.
What's going on, everyone? So that was the states' rights issue, right? So this is the camouflage. A lot of people who try to make the claim that the Civil War wasn't about slavery. Oh, it was about state rights. Yeah, the state's right to own slaves. Like it's the core, like first principles. Let's go to the root cause of why these people seceded slavery. So we're going to go into the article now. DeSantis Ramaswamy responds to Haley's remarks on slavery and the Civil War. Two Republican candidates criticized former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley on Thursday for her remarks that she made weeks about slavery and the Civil War. Haley, who's running for president, faced backlash Wednesday night after she answers a voter question on the cause of the Civil War without mentioning slavery. You saw the video, so I don't need to rehash what was said. But I kind of want to go into how DeSantis said he would have answered the question. Let's hear him out.
What would your answer be to the question that Haley got in terms of the primary cause of the Civil War?
Of course, you have the issue of slavery. You had the states that were concerned about Lincoln interfering and potentially eliminating it. And they viewed it as a states' rights issue, not as a federal issue. And they were concerned that you have this Republican president may come in and get rid of the institution of slavery. And so that was,
And also this is the Democrats' problem also, that this is the fear that Democrats and a lot of single lady voters, black conservative perspective, like to call it the thought vote, is concerned about as well. Right. And I'm agree that, look, abortion should be a state issue. Right. But on principle, hey, I think this is human rights violation. Like, no human has the right to decide the fate of another. You're crossing boundaries there. You're killing somebody without their consent. You're killing your own offspring without your offspring's consent. Right. You're treating your offspring like property. And last time I checked, we just hashed it out with slavery. A human is not another human's property. Like we can't we can't make human beings a commodity. And this is how we're treating abortion. This is what I'm saying. You can't separate the two, right? And people I don't understand the liberals. It's like they can't look at history within its context. The same way we're viewing abortion now is the same way a lot of people view slavery. It was just part of life. It's just what people did. Hey, women are allowed to kill their offsprings. Hey, people are allowed to own slaves. No one saw it any differently. Some people disagree with the institution, just like some people here think abortion should be abolished. There are some people in the past that believe slavery should have been abolished. But all we keep hearing about is, oh, America was built on slavery. Even though economically the South was falling behind the North, and the North never were slave states. So all this cope that people try to do or try to camouflage the reality is slavery was a core issue for why the Civil War started in the first place. State rights, why they were caring about state rights, slavery. So yeah, I agree with DeSantis' answer here.
It's interesting because the Republican Party was founded to put a stop to the growth of slavery in this country. And the abolition of slavery was, to this day, remains the party's top achievement. And it was a partisan achievement. because the people that were fighting Lincoln, the people that wanted to preserve, so they were Democrats. And so the Republican Party did that, and that's something that you should acknowledge and be proud of as a Republican.
Yeah, and then the North also, they didn't vote a single time for any of the amendments that would have freed and abolished slavery. They only voted for one, I think, and it was like 7 of them. Go look it up. I think it was the 13th, 14th, and maybe the 15th. 14th, 15th, they didn't even vote at all. Not a single Northern Democrat voted for that. The 13th Amendment they did, and like it was like 7 out of 60 voted for it. So this quote that Democrats like to say, oh no, it was only the South. The South wasn't even allowed to vote. What are you talking about? They were prevented from actually voting in Congress because the North won the war, right? Your entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy responded to Haley's remarks in the series of posts on X. The shocking part isn't that Haley failed to mention slavery, it's that she failed to mention the 10th Amendment. When you try to be everything to everyone, you're nothing to anyone. A perfect puppet for the corrupt institutions. Hey, Ramaswamy also highlighted when Haley was asked about the questioner what she wanted to say about slavery. I think she mistook him for a super PAC donor. Ramaswamy says, and then Ramaswamy hit her back with the, turns out Nikki Haley knows as little about the Civil War as she does about the Ukraine war, right? And is
that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in.
So he got, that was a good comeback. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That was a good, I don't know, it was a blasting of Nikki Haley. And if Trump is smart, like, and there were some stories going around that Trump was considering having Nikki Haley as a VP. That should kill all that noise right now, based on how she answered that question. Because we can't take, look, regardless of party, we can't take another Kamala Harris VP. Sorry, okay? It's not because she's a woman. It's not because she's half black. It's not because of none of that. It's because she's just incompetent. We can't put incompetent people in places of power because they're going to break barriers for my representation. No, like, Republican Party needs to offer contrast, not trying to be Democrat light. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree with Nikki Haley? Do you think it was state rights? Do you agree with me? Do you think it's because of slavery? Let me hear your thoughts about the Civil War and what you guys think about it. I would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I appreciate you guys for watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.